Hello, welcome to Coffee with Carrie. Here's your host and director of Cable and Community Relations, Carrie Lazat.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining me this morning for a cup of coffee if you're taking a break. I'm Carrie Lazat, your Director of Cable and Community Relations here in Bloomfield Township. And this show is where I talk to other colleagues of mine who are helping keep the township running and make it a wonderful place to live and to work. And this show is an additional opportunity for us to offer transparency in government. And just as a reminder, if you want to see any trustee meetings and other locally produced content, the best way is to search Bloomfield Community Television on YouTube and click subscribe, and then you'll be updated. And you can always watch it on your smart TV that way, and that way you get to watch the HD version. Today, I welcome Noah Mehalski. I hope I got that right. Our Director of Public Works. Noah has been with the township since 2011 when he started as an ordinance officer and became the director in 2017. Welcome, Noah.
Thank you.
Can you begin with an overview of the department and the responsibilities that you have, and how many people are working with you?
So we have over 40 staff in my department, and we have multiple divisions. We kind of divide them up between internal services and external services. Internally, we handle the motor pool, all the maintenance operations for the township. That includes all the fire trucks, building of police cars, maintaining them, and then our own DPW fleet. Additionally, we take care of our facilities at the township. That's under the DPW's purview. And 3 employees handle the maintenance and ongoing PMs, and then the larger capital improvement projects within the township. Then I have administrative staff up front that help with the billing and other operations within the water department. And then you kind of dovetail into the external operations, which are our water and sewer department, 200 miles of water mains and sewer lines throughout the township that we take care of. We distribute water on behalf of the Great Lakes Water Authority. And then additionally, the road division, which is, next to the water division, it's one of our most important divisions as far as outward service to the community.
Well, I'm going to share one of our new things on the website that we have, and it shows us exactly what your budget is. And as far as offering transparency, it's this new application, ClearGov, that you can find on our website. And so this is your budget for, this calendar year until end of March. And we can see that the road, the green right here, that's where most of your budget is. The motor pool and the building and grounds. So just for people to know that this is new on our website, you go under the finance tab. There's so much there that it sometimes is difficult to find under budgets. And this is the new digital book. So I'll have our finance director talk about that in further detail in the future, but I just wanted to point that out to everybody. So can you talk a little bit about what makes Bloomfield Township different than other cities and townships as far as the services that we offer?
Yeah, and I will add that is a great tool, the budget book, and it kind of explains a lot of the numbers that are if you don't dig deep into the current budget and the way it's displayed from our system, this is a good visual to kind of support what those activities are out there. So I'll echo that. As far as unique, in the early 70s, the township was part of an endeavor to realize some of the funding. There's funding out there for county road commissions to care for the surface maintenance of the roads. In Bloomfield Township in the early 70s, the residents made a push to internalize that care for the roads within a local department and take away that care from the road commission for Oakland County. And part of that process, they wanted to be paid the Act 51 money that went currently to the county. And so they went up to Lansing and had the laws amended at that time to allow local entities to share in that care and responsibility, but also that funding that's available. And that became like a model throughout the state. And we're currently one of the only entities that has a sophisticated road department that's based in a township, just because typically townships townships do not own roadways within their jurisdiction, and that entity that does own the roadways is typically a county road commission. So we are unique in the way that our residents saw a need for a higher care level within the community, and then also the fact that we share in that funding with that responsibility as well.
Well, thanks for that overview. And I just want to say that we are live. And if you wanted to ask a question or say hello, hi, Lori. So I just wanted to say hi because someone said hello to us. So that's kind of one of the fun things about doing a live show. If you're watching the broadcast or you're watching the playback, you can always join me. We try and do a show every 2 weeks, and you can ask questions live. Oh, look, someone else. Do we know Crystal? Thanks for sharing the road history. Do you know who this person is?
No.
Isn't that exciting? Some random person is
yes.
to us. So,
this is my life, so it's good to have other people interested in that.
yes, exactly. So can you take me through, winter is coming. I wanted to do like this, this big graphic with from Bet Stove where it was like winter anyway, it's winter is coming soon. So can you talk us through like what is a typical day like when you hear the weather is coming? How do you guys prepare, and what do you have to start getting ready for that?
So I have some training within meteorological training through the APWA, American Public Works Association. My brother personally is actually a meteorologist as well. So I can, I have a weird love for weather and winter weather in particular. So I typically know when things are coming. This is germane because today we have a storm brewing for Thursday, Friday, Saturday this week. So that process is going on as we speak. Right now we're focused on staffing levels, especially with the Christmas holiday coming up. We have staff is stretched to a minimum. So we're making sure that we have the people in place. If it stretches to a 2-day event, that we're staffed up for that. So the discussions right now are kind of looking at the weather predictions, honing in on those, making sure we've got our staff into place for the 2 or 3 scenarios that may play out here in the next few days. And then it's execution after that. So my real work comes in the 2-3 days ahead of the storm to get the plan together, kind of make sure that the people are there, make sure that everybody has their marching orders. And then situationally, if anything changes throughout the event, I have staff out on the roads. I myself, I'm out on the roadways because I'm strangely addicted to weather. And so those are the times that we're out there kind of making sure that our plan is a good one. If we do have to call a snow emergency, that decision's been made 8 hours ago or more to give people the notice that they need. Those type of storms are the real big ones that are 6 to 12 in that type of kind of accumulation range. But it's a dynamic process, and we've got to, we've got to put the equipment out on the roads. We want to have all the equipment out when we can have all the equipment out. And then, it kind of depends on the nature of the storm. The one that we're dealing with coming up this week is going to be a cold, warm, then cold again, rain event or rain, so snow to rain to back to snow. And so we're worried about the ice on the back end of the storm. And we're, worried about that temperature swing at this point. So that's kind of the push and pull factors that we're looking at. My staff, my foreman in the road division is a real huge asset to the community. He has a good weather background as well, but then he's also, as these storms are coming in, he lives about a mile away from the township hall, and he is similarly out there checking the road conditions. Road conditions when the storm starts to hit can vary from one end of the township to the other very significantly, either due to elevation or just the way the storm is coming down upon us. So that can kind of add in different push and pulls as well.
Right. Well, I find it really interesting that you're into winter weather. I myself am more of a summer weather person, but I think now I'll be following more. So how do we go about alerting people that, I guess people are watching a storm coming in, but how do people, if there's a certain area that they need to have special attention paid to? Like, how do we get in touch with them?
They can call the DPW line. It's listed on your screen there. Additionally, our dispatch and police, when the DPW is not in those 24/7, what better people to have at our disposal to kind of tell us about the current road conditions than the police officers that are out there 24/7, right? So they act as our sentinels out there for when the weather's getting worse. So then if something changes, we can come in on the fly. We'll be looking at real-time weather, that type of stuff. We use social media as well to get out our kind of storm plan ahead of time. We get if there's a snow emergency called again for the larger storms, then we will get that out via local media channels, that type of thing. But our people, we're aware of the weather kind of all the time, and it's our job to be out there and on top of things. So that's kind of, we take that personally and as a big charge. So, you can pretty much assume that Bloomfield Township's going to be on top of a storm, regardless of 1-2 inch ice, events. We're on top of it all the time. So.
Oh, good. I do have to apologize. So Crystal is not a random person. She is the resident of Bloomfield Township, which we are trying to reach residents. So I'm so happy that she saw this, and a newly elected Avondale School Board trustee. So sorry about that. And I do apologize. So I'm glad you let us know, and that maybe we can have you on a Coffee with Carrie. You can talk a little bit about what you do in your neck of the woods. So can you tell me, do you do any winter sports? Like, do you like to get out and play in the snow as well?
More like sportsman. I'm an avid ice fisherman. I just coming off of hunting. That's why I still have the beard from hunting. Right. So I would say it's more not sports related. I can't get on ice skates. I'm 6'3" and about 280, so I can't get on ice skates anymore, at least in a competitive fashion. Mm-hmm. But it would be more, hunting, fishing. I use my 4-wheeler all year round. I don't have a snowmobile yet, but that's kind of where I head out in the winter. So
what I found out recently is that you can actually hunt with a bow and arrow in Bloomfield Township. You probably knew this.
Wow. Right. Well, I know people do. I didn't know it was legal, but
no, it is. It is actually, because I guess there's actually a couple hunting blinds that are up in Bloomfield Township, and so other residents who don't hunt were concerned about that, and so I saw our chief's reaction, our reply to this person, that yes, it is legal, and that with bow and arrows, people can hunt in Bloomfield Township. I don't think
it's our right. We should exercise that right.
That's right. Well, I live in Franklin, and so I know that we get like whole herds of deer going through our yard.
Yeah, we just had a big deer issue here in the township with the one with the bucket on its head. So.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah. So, can you tell me? So, who gets to drive those big trucks? Is it one person? Are there two people in it? Is this like a seasonal worker? Who drives the trucks?
These are full-time road division employees. So their main winter operations will be snow removal and pothole patching is kind of how we fill in the winter. So these are full-time Bloomfield Township employees. We have 12 currently in the road division. They each have their own plow route. So they do their own plow route every single time they go out and plow, unless there's some sort of staffing issue that we got to fill in, a sickness, anything like that. Only time you'll see two individuals in a truck is when we're training. In the DPW, snow is king in the winter, so you can be called from motor pool to assist within the DPW department. You can be called from water to assist, and so we train our employees, continuously. So that's when they may see two people out there in a truck for that training purposes. Typically, they ride one person within a truck, and their plow route, it could take anywhere from 4 to 16 hours depending on the snow. So
right. Wow. Okay. What else? What other questions might I have for you? I don't know. What else do you have to tell me about what's happening?
I can say that it's particularly road division and clearing the snow in the winter. We have a very high level of service, and our staff intrinsically feel, a culpability or a care for the community. We understand there's a public safety aspect to that, and take that very seriously within my department. Additionally, it is dedicated staff out here from our road division, so it's not kind of pulling people off other tasks for most cases. Additionally, we can be a good go-between us and the services we don't provide, which are provided by the Road Commission for Oakland County still. So sometimes our voice is heard over there in a different way than a resident's, or sometimes we can bolster that voice, or lend some credibility if we go out there and take some pictures, that type of stuff. So, a big part of what we provided as far as services in the department is being a go-between, as well between the road division and the Road Commission for Oakland County. So,
you said another part of your job was environmental regulations. You want to talk a little bit more, or like what's coming down the road for that?
Yeah, so like all the time we're, this environmental wise, I have an environmental degree from Michigan State University, so that's my training and background, right? Go green. And so, from a push-pull factor, that's always been something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. And recently, 2008, there was a big spike in the cost of salt within the Midwest region and the country as a whole. That started to put the push and pull factors of economics with salt use. More recently, there's been some studies on lakes in Minnesota, and then more recently by our own regulator here in Michigan, and urban lakes are becoming more salty. And that is largely due to the application of salt onto the roadways for motorist safety. So what we're doing, we have been moving towards controlling the amount of salt we went down simply because of cost. But more recently, we've been looking into pre-wetting and using liquids as basically stretching the dollar with the salt. And also it's a more effective product for our residents as well. And it'll allow our operations to be more effective. So for those two kind of prongs are pushing us in a way that we're going to be limiting the amount of salt that we put down on the roadways. Typically, the old traditional way is to throw the salt down and put more and more down, and then Mother Nature makes that into a brine. What we've seen to be more effective is to make that brine ahead of time and don't allow that material to bond to the roadway, those type of things. So that's the way that we're heading. Regulations right now are voluntary for these type of things. So we're doing them again for the economic benefits and for the intrinsic kind of environmental quality or values to it. But I've seen this progression in the past in this state and nationally where voluntary rules become, required in their second iteration. So we are going to be ahead of the game. We will save money through these pre-wetting and anti-icing programs, and this is the way of the future. So
is this why when I see the salt in the parking lot, is this why it's blue now and it didn't used to be blue?
No, that's really has to do with where they're getting it from.
Okay.
All the salt was put down in this depositional environment when we had these shallow seas. In fact, Detroit has a major salt mine. I've been down in the salt mine where I'm from in Saginaw, and north of that in Midland, they have salt brine wells, and that's due to the shallow seas that covered this area. So it's really due to where that salt was put down. It takes on a lot of the characteristics of the seawater that produced it. So it's and these salt mines are extensive under the city of Detroit, and they don't allow tours down in them anymore. So I was lucky to get down in there and see what goes on, but it really helps make the connection between the land, the business, and then, our public safety realm. So,
yeah. So can you talk to me a little bit about when you were back at Michigan State, when you were looking at where you were going to end up? Did you think that you would end up in a government job like this? I mean, how did you end up, the path that you ended up taking to get here?
No, and it's kind of, I started after college. I worked for Habitat for Humanity in Saginaw, which is where I'm from originally. And I had a mechanical acumen. I was always into like engineering and tearing stuff apart. So that's why I kind of went to their volunteer. I was their volunteer coordinator, so recruiting people. I then got a job down here at Friends of the Rouge, running the Rouge Education Project and being a fundraiser for them. So that that program gets kids out to the river to do chemical testing on the river in the hopes that they'll then, take that chemical results back and think about how they impact the river. Right. So then I started in 2007, actually, with the township as the environmental specialist here in our engineering department. And I started get my fingers out into other realms of the township, but I knew my trajectory that I had to manage people and then I needed to move away from the environmental side of things. So then I became the motor pool, the fleet and facilities manager here, and got those people under me, and then worked up from there to the director of public works. So it kind of got me in the door, the environmental side, and then I realized where I wanted to go in my career, that I had to lead people, and that was kind of the mechanism that was going to get me there. And so here I am. So.
Well, we're happy to have you. And Martin Brook says, thank you for choosing public service. So thank you, Clerk Brook, for piping in and watching today. And it's great to have, I guess you're an environmentalist working for the government and, trying to make things happen and be good to our earth. And I think that's one of the things that's really special about Bloomfield Township is the natural beauty that we're able to maintain. And if we don't take care of it, then it's not going to stay. So
yes,
that's good. Well, I thank you for joining me today on Coffee with Carrie. And I don't think I have any more questions for you. So I'll just wish you and yours a happy new year. This is the last show of my year, so the year for us. And that's all I have for us today. So thanks for watching.
Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to Coffee with Carrie, and we'll see you next year.